Welcome back. You're watching Prime Property. This week we drove down to Lavasa, HCC's hill city of the outskirts of Pune. Lavasa will be developed across 18,000 acres and its size, you can say, is about 1/5 of Mumbai. Construction at Lavasa had been banned by the Environment Ministry, resulting in a loss of almost 730 crore rupees for HCC. After a year-long protracted battle with the then Environment Minister Ramesh ECC got the green signal in November 2011. So has HCC been able to make up for lost time? HCC's top boss Ajit Gulabchand now joins us at Prime Property to discuss that. Mr. Gulabchand, thanks a lot for joining us here. It's been a year and a half since you've got all the approvals from the Environment Ministry. Has that helped in sales? Have you seen an uptick?
Well, let's put it this way. The issue is that the state government, whose responsibility it was to give the clearance, had given it. The central government, MOEF, felt that they need to be the people giving clearance. Now, based on that, we have got clearances from two places. We are twice cleared as a project. Now, to move on from there, we have started the process again. Now, in terms of, if you look at the sales ideas, in the last few months, we have sold more than 300 homes there, both apartments as well as actually villas, etc. on the ground. There are about 5,000 construction workers on the ground there. It is coming back to its full construction, which you will see as soon as the monsoon is over.
But has that uptick in sales also been complemented by price appreciation?
Well, let's say we began the sales at the beginning of when we sold this about 3-4 years ago at a price of about 2,500 rupees a square foot. Today these same places are going at about 4,000 rupees a square foot. There were villas that were priced at 1.5, the same ones are now on some sales are happening at about 3.5 crores. So the property valuation there, because of what is being built there, is going up every year to some extent, and therefore it shows that there is a growing demand for this.
Mr. Gulabchand, what all can we expect at Lavasa in 2013? Do you have a strong launch pipeline?
Well, yeah. Let us put it, because there are three aspects to Lavasa's economy. First aspect is that, yes, there will be homes for people to live. So there would be rental homes for those who will come to work there and will not be able to afford to buy initially, ranging from 500 rupees a month to 3,000 rupees a month. Then there will be villas as well, of going up to 2 crores of rupees, but also apartments starting at 10 lakhs of rupees, and that is underway. And the next is, it has to build a healthy place for tourism, hospitality and leisure. So hotels, certain theme parks that have to come up there, which were stalled and now being renegotiated and restarted, so that it has a continuous tourism economy in that place. And third is soft businesses, research centers, etc., which have been already included in the plan and have been approved by the Maharashtra government as something that we should be doing at Lavasa, are also underway.
Okay, you're saying you're something for everyone, but can you tell me what the profile is of the people that are really buying into Lavasa? Are they those who want a holiday home? It's also a hill city, so are we seeing senior citizens and, retired folks looking to settle down here? Perhaps NRIs looking to make an investment?
Yes, sir. It's across this whole section that you talked about. There are some, obviously when you begin a greenfield project in a brand new place, it would be second homes to begin with. Having said that, you will find that there's a company called Ashiana which builds retirement homes. They have taken a large area there and are building a full retirement home there, and they are now negotiating one more plot there to expand that activity in other towns of Lavasa as well. So you will have older people who will settle down there. You will have a large youthful population. After all, it is being devised substantially for the young India. Today, India's average age of India is 26 years, 7 months. So this aspirational population that would like to stay there, most of the apartment homes, etc., are going to younger people between the age groups of 30 to 45. And as far as the rental would be those who come and work there. So you have a whole segment of apartments that cost 10 lakhs of rupees to buy, to apartments that would cost you about 20-25 lakhs to buy, some that will cost you 35 lakhs to buy, and it goes all the way to 2 crores plus. So it's across socio-economic cross-section.
This is a mammoth project. Can you tell me how much of Lavasa has already been completed and how much of it has already been sold?
Well, the first town called Daswe in the whole city of Lavasa is already sold, and most of the people there, the construction having stopped, it would have been a thriving town by now. However, we will now be, as we are delivering the villas and some of the apartments that are coming up, it's growing every day. It should be completed by almost the next, this year end or by next March or May. So that would be completed. The next town, Mugao, has already begun construction, and the sales which I now talk of are in that town. There will be in all about 4 such big towns and 1 low-cost housing town. So this is how there will be consists of 5 towns across the entire development.
Mr. Gulabchand, you're not going to like this comparison, but very often parallels have been drawn between Lavasa and Ambi Valley. Now, Ambi Valley has never really taken off. So on what basis should we assume that Lavasa will be a success? Well,
you must appreciate one thing, that these are very different types of developments, and they are a model of their own kind. Ambi Valley is substantially a high-end resort town, whereas this is a full-fledged city where there's an economy, where you not only have homes, you will have jobs because of the hospitality, tourism, leisure. There will be something like 20-30 hotels. Even now there are 3 hotels operating and about 9 of them are under construction. So you will have businesses settle down here. Second is, there are already 4 schools operating. There will be many more schools and universities operating here. There's a full Apollo hospital, 60-bed hospital operating. They'll be setting up a Medicity here on 200 acres. So you are going to have a lot more businesses settle here, as well as there's a big convention center. There are only 2 world-class convention centers or world-rated convention centers in India. One is in Hyderabad and the other is at Lavasa. So this creates a kind of a 7 days economy in Lavasa. So when you look at the totality of this, we are actually building a city across the socio-economic spectrum, and therefore we feel it is going to be a far different development and therefore much more acceptable. Do not forget one more thing, that India will have a huge migration of almost 400 million people in the next 40 years. And this is something that means we will need a lot more new cities. Professor Prahlad had said 500 new cities, new neighborhoods to existing cities, and reshaping the existing cities as they are. So when you look at that kind of demand that India will have on cities, I don't see why Lavasa, situated in the richest belt of India between Pune and Bombay, will not be successful.
Okay, so you're pretty clear. Ambi Valley, Lavasa, 2 very different concepts. You know, resales are very often seen as a barometer of how successful a project has been. How have resales been at Lavasa?
Yeah. But you're asking me this question rather early, and yet, in spite of it, during this topic, some people that moved on, sold it, there's not somebody who wants to sell it, hasn't found a buyer for it, and who has not sold it at a good profit. So as far as I see it, it's early. I would like to have this conversation with you around this time next year, which will be a very different story.
Mr. Gulabchand, I'm going to hold you to that and get you back on the show next year and then ask you about that. But for now, moving on, how did your customers react to construction being stopped for a year? Obviously, delivery of their homes have been delayed. For example, have they demanded compensation?
I must tell you something. I'm really grateful that all our customers have been exemplary in their behavior. They completely understood what had happened. They also realized that all that happened was not necessarily right. It was wrong what they did to Lavasa. So much so that the villagers have also joined in the petition against the government at that time. And therefore, in this context, we have had extraordinary support from our customers who have understood and are now accepting their delayed deliveries with a considerable grace. Of course, there will be some irate people, but that would have been there even if all this hadn't happened. But by and large, I found that there has been an extraordinary support. The minor suffering that has actually happened is that those who are setting up the theme parks, who had invested a lot of money in equipment, etc., they have suffered big losses and are now having some problems getting back on their feet. But other than that, I think we've had some excellent support, and we hope to capitalize on that by as soon as the monsoon season is over, to build rapidly and hand over to these people their villas and their apartments very quickly, and go on to build the new ones which will be sold during the year.
Things are clearly looking up from what all you've been telling me. Mr. Gulabchand, is the Lavasa IPO back on the table?
Of course, everything is back on the table, but it will now, you must understand, we've lost 3 years. We have to now make up for it. Just add 3 years to that, and we will be there at the doorsteps of the stock market soon.
Okay, so everything's back on the table, including the IPO. The initial plan, of course, was to raise 2,000 crore rupees from tapping the capital markets. Thanks a lot, Mr. Gulabchand, for joining us here at Prime Property. You heard Ajit Gulabchand talking about price appreciation at Lavasa. Here's what's currently on offer. And with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of Prime Property. Thanks for watching. See you same time next week.